Hey everybody. I want to speak about something that I have been quietly feeling for some time, just in my own inner journeys, my own practice. And I've touched on it in a lot of these lives and in my podcast. But I heard George Kavassilis speak about this extensively a few days ago, and it was so, it was like he was speaking my own experience, and so I wanted to bring this forward in a more concrete way. There's been a lot of talk about stargates and portals and all of the sort of on the spiritual, metaphysical layer of what's going on behind or underneath the world events, and that these are actually Stargate wars because our planet, as I've spoken of, is honeycombed, with a whole inner terrain, inner world beneath the crust of the planet, and containing many portals and stargates, and so I of course we are a fractal. We are a universal fractal, right? And this whole galaxy is a fractal galaxy, right? So as above, so below always applies, as within, so without always applies, right? And so, if the body of the earth, this spherical body of the earth has an outer layer, but also an inner world, if it has a luminous plasmic core, well, so do we. So do we, right? And so all this talk about stargates and portals that are, at issue, in conflict, underneath all of these geopolitical situations that we're facing on the planet, and that's what's really at issue. It's just also a total metaphor for what is also really at issue in terms of control of the planet, control of the human being, because we have been so tightly controlled and so manipulated and interfered with, precisely because of the Stargate that is within us, and that is the heart. Part of our conditioning, spiritual and religious conditioning, has been to look up, right? The conditioning of empire over this planet, the hold of it over this planet is hierarchical in nature. It's from the top down, right? Pyramid, right? And that is that is how the power structures have functioned on this planet, right? It's a pyramid. It's on the US dollar, for gosh sakes, the Federal Reserve note, I should say. That pyramid, So, we've always been trained to seek upward. We talk about the higher self. We talk about the higher chakras. We talk about ascension. We talk about rising above, transcending, leaving density behind. And, we need to really feel into these terms for how they resonate in us, and, what they represent for us. Because in my experience, more and more, I'm finding that the deepest connection to source is not above us. It's not above us. It's not out and away somewhere. It's within us. I mean, it's in the Bible too. That's also, some of the bits of truth that did get through. The kingdom of heaven is within you, right? That's just, it's time for us to relook at the structure and functionality of reality within our own unit, our own fractal unit, which is the entire universe. And that Stargate is within us. It is the center of our being. It is where we directly meet the source. It is where from where everything is emanating from us, radiating outward from us, from the center of us, not from the top down. This is this portal that I keep sensing, that I've been talking about, of the heart, right? And when I talk about the heart, I'm not meaning sentimentality or romance. I'm referring to a luminous center of direct knowing, which is deeper than the heart chakra that is often referred to. Okay, I'm not talking about a step on a ladder, one of the chakras. I am talking about the one center of our being, this Stargate, this portal within us, which is, I call it the deep heart. It's like you got to feel deeper roots down inside yourself to start to access this center of coherence, of presence, of relational intelligence, and not only relational with other people, but relational with creation, right? With this planet, with the sun, with the cosmos, with this entire galaxy and universe, right? And we don't want to believe that we can have a relationship on that level, because we've just been beaten down so much and told how small and insignificant and unworthy we are. So this is part of really wanting to heal that within myself, but you can only know if something is true for yourself if you experience it yourself, right? So I'm just sharing with you kind of part of my journey. Whew, it's a lot of feeling coming through now. Yeah. That tells me it's real, this relational center, this enables us to be in direct connection with any part of the infinite field, because it is the portal to unity consciousness within us. And, this is a different model of reality, different model of the universe than anything that we've ever really been taught. Although there have been people who have talked about this, who have tried to share about this, George Kavassilas being one of them. And I really recommend, if you don't know who I'm talking about, if you look up Our Journey Home, George Kavassilas, he's an amazing being. And he has a way of talking about these things that has had a lot of influence on me. I have a lot of deep respect, honor, love, respect for George. And I can say that, what he describes, I'm finding this to be true within myself, in my own explorations. There's a depth in us. There is a depth that goes deeper than the dimensions of your body. It's like an infinite space within each of us. It's deeper than any emotion. It's deeper than our personality. It's an intelligence within us. Now, many spiritual systems map energy vertically, right, in this hierarchical model. And, that like from the root to the crown, to the higher chakras above the head, just always going from lower to higher, rising upward through the levels, right? And I'm not saying that these maps are not real, because they are real. And I'm not saying that they don't hold truth. But for many of us, they can also reinforce this sense of hierarchy and having to climb the ladder to get somewhere. And actually these systems these these energy maps are part of the imperial overlay, part of the control system. And because they are so ancient, because they've been with us for so long, we don't remember what it was like before they were imposed on us. They are, and I'm not saying, because look, I came through all of this. This is part of my training as a yogi, you know, to learn about chakras and Kundalini pineal and all of that. And it isn't to say that you cannot achieve some degree of healing. And you know, it was definitely part of my process to work with all of these centers and to clear them in a way. Okay, so you can derive benefits from doing this. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying there's something deeper. There is something deeper in us. There is something primary in us. That these systems are, you know, remember the old encyclopedias? First of all, I don't know how old you are, but, you know, back in when I was a child growing up in the 70s and the 80s, we had encyclopedias. We had collections of encyclopedias, you know, in the bookcase. That was your internet. I mean, that was when we had to look something up, you know, we were trying to learn about something. My mom would always say, look it up. And she'd go grab the encyclopedia and we would look it up in a book, right? And I remember one of these encyclopedias was all about the human body and anatomy, and it had, you know, the basic drawing, and then you could overlay these transparent sheets that had the different systems, the skeletal system, the digestive system, the circulatory system, et cetera, right? And so, you know, I just remember these transparencies, right? These overlays, that's what they were, right? Well, we can have the same idea, the same understanding of our energy anatomy. We have been overlaid with energetic anatomy too. And the purpose of that, it has been to siphon our energy upward, okay? Because we have been extracted for so long, we don't even realize what form the extraction takes and how deep it goes, right? And this gland, the pineal gland, and I'm not saying that it isn't amazing. It is amazing technology. I've had amazing experiences with my pineal gland, but something in me just felt like, wait a second, right? Because that is a biological implant that is connected to the mind matrix. Okay, I've said it. Anyway, I don't mean to offend anybody, but we need to realize that is not what is keeping us alive. That is not what is keeping us connected to divinity. There is something deeper in us that is primary, that was there before. Here. This is this portal here. This is where all of our being pours out into this toroidal field all around us. We are a fountain. See, I used to think, well, I mean, our chakras and our, you know, the whole Kundalini pineal axis, that's our connection to God, to the infinite. Well, which God are you talking about? There's something deeper than that. And my life has changed a great deal since I went deeper underneath those transparencies and started looking for where the real connection was. All right. Now, if you feel confronted by this information, that's okay. It is confronting. It is confronting. You know, if you didn't buy the religious line, but you bought the New Age line, like I did, you're loyal to that belief system. But it's a belief system. And it belongs to the imperial imposition that we have been under. I'm speaking from my own experience there, my own sense of what is true. So let me offer a reframe here. And you have to go and check it out for yourself. You have to feel into this for yourself. What if reality is less like a ladder and more like a sphere? Not top down, but inside out. Inward to outward, right? The old model says rise upward to reach the divine, right? Rise upward to get to God. The deeper model says go inward until the infinite that you are reveals itself. You know, the hierarchical model, what we've been used to and what all of our systems are based on, is about top-down authority. It's about levels. It's about rank, status, distance from source, right? And you can see how everything in our world is based on that model of getting somewhere, achieving something, right? Even our sense of time is rooted in that. This is very hard on us. And so the spherical model says that the center is everywhere. The center is everywhere. That source is accessible from every point. That, the inner depth radiates outward, and that no one is above another in essence. Every point on the surface of a sphere has access to the center. Right? So this is a radically different model than this hierarchical overlay on us. When you go within, it's like you want to let more of yourself out. You want to experience more of you, of what is inside you. Not the personality, right? The crust, the surface, the shallow levels of life, but the deep core of your being, where you meet the source, where the source comes pouring out through you, through this portal, and radiates out into your field. That's what we want. We want to feel that connection. Not like, oh, please, if I'm worthy, somewhere up there, bestow something on me. No, we have it. We have it all. It is within us already. It's through here. They want to distract you away from that all the time, pulling your attention outward. Look, I'm just as caught up in that stuff as everybody else, right? It's easy to get pulled outside. It's happening all the time, right? But the important thing is that you remember, hang on, it's not out there. It is within. Let me go within. Let me look inside myself. Let me feel for what's real within me, not out there. And everything that you mine from inside yourself I don't want to use that word, everything that you allow to pour forth from within yourself becomes part of your experience and influences the reality that you experience. That is the inside out model. All right? We don't need a higher self so much as an inner self, a deeper self. Because higher self can imply that the current self is lesser, lower, that the truth is elsewhere, that we have somewhere, again, to get, that that wisdom is, above reach. It can keep us locked in the mind when we go up like this. All right, this is not the seat of the soul in here. No, it's here. It's here. inner being feels like intimacy. It feels like nearness. It feels like depth. It feels like presence. It feels like, when I'm helping people with this in person, it feels like just relaxing back into yourself. Like you're relaxing back into a comfy, cozy chair. It's a place where you feel safe, where you feel whole, right? It's not out anywhere else. It is not calling down favor. It's being at home. It's coming back home. Home. In here. Right? It's a universe within ourselves. We spend so much time looking outward in the universe, but there is a universe within us. Why? Because we're fractals. As without, so within. As above, so below. Even in the hierarchical model. There's this depth space within us that is containing in our intuition, that contains our memory, our creativity, our healing intelligence, our direct communion. No intermediary necessary. You don't need ascended masters to mediate for you. You don't need angels. You don't need a mid-level manager for your source connection. The infinite field is not only around us, it is in us, it is through us. So if we want to learn to feel this portal in a practical sense, I don't know. I've just been teaching myself because I took as my starting point, okay, if everything is within me, then I don't need any special teachings. Right? This is not the model of, learn how to do all kinds of different, manipulations to move your energy up here. I've done all that. And again, no disrespect, right? I learned from that. But I started to realize, okay, it's within me. The knowledge, the wisdom somewhere is within me. What feels right? We can trust ourselves, guys. How do I access myself? It's me. It's me. It's you. It's not something outside of you. It's just us. So I just kind of intuitively started experimenting with that. I just start focusing in on my heart, deep inside my heart. I try to go to the deepest layers that I can sense and feel within myself. Breathing slowly, calming myself down. I try to relax everything. And I just imagine that I'm sitting back and being cozy, feeling really cozy and safe. And, not going up into the mind, but letting all my awareness sink down deep into my heart space. Not chasing any sensations or stimulation, right? That's a big part of the spiritual systems that, really pump us up on sensation. And again, I've done that. I've been there. All right. So I know what I speak of here. This is not about chasing sensation. This is very simple access. And we just descend inward into it. Now, what George Kavassilis said recently, which really, really spoke to me, which was like a new layer that I wanted to look at and that I wanted to share, was he said, it's like this is relational, right? You must establish a relationship with it again if it hasn't been used. It's always been there, this Stargate, this portal. It's always been there. But if we haven't had a relationship with it, or if it's been purely conceptual, when it moves into reality, well, we've got to listen to it. We've got to feel it. We've got to relate to it, right? Because it is a portal or a stargate to the infinite field within us, right? And if we haven't ever gone there, we haven't been inside that inner universe. And, we you don't just go in. It's like you have to, here's what it felt like to me. You have to resonate with the Stargate. They say that, coming back out into the galactic cosmic level, I hear a lot about people who have the right DNA or the right codes within them to open certain stargates nobody else can open, right? Well, I think that is probably true of our inner stargate, only we have the codes, right? Because it's our stargate. But if we haven't resonated with it in a while, or in this lifetime, we have to learn to resonate with it. And again, it's not something you read a book about. You just do it, but you do it. I don't know how to explain it. Through your intention, your sincere, aligned intention, not to use it for something that it isn't supposed to be used for, because otherwise you can't get in, right? It's like it knows you. It knows whether it can, if it's time for you for you to go through. I'm not being very articulate, but I'm trying to describe something that's hard to describe in words. There's a kind of feeling of spaciousness, softness, warmth, aliveness when you are in resonance with it. You can't be forced. It opens through gentleness and your love, honor, and respect for yourself. This is so important now, guys, because we're moving out of externally mediated spirituality, and we've got to. We've got to now. We're moving away from gurus and systems and hierarchies and needing permission. We've got to trust ourselves. We've got to learn or remember how to trust ourselves again. Trust our connection. Be in direct relationship. Be, embodying our source connection and be directed by inner authority. We've got it all within us. And then the age of intermediaries is ending. See, if you don't trust yourself, then you will panic when the going gets tough, and you will give your power away to whatever institution or government or whatever says they're going to protect you, and they're full of it. They can't do that. That is about control. They want to control. They've been controlling us for so long. They don't want to let go of that control. The way that you withdraw from that system is to stand in your own inner authority now. But we can't do that from the mind alone, because the mind doesn't have any answers. The mind is the one that's constantly looking outside for information, to accumulate information. No. The mind ideally is in service of the heart, right? Rebecca Barron says the heart is the teacher, the mind is the student. Right? So coming back within yourself, standing in your own inner authority, and I don't mean in any kind of egoic sense. I mean that you have given authority to your heart. You are remembering who you really are, not this crust, superficial personality. It's just an interface, a beloved one. I love myself. You love yourself, right? But this surface being is not who you really are. It's so much deeper than that. And when we start to access that fountain of energy, of light, of abundance, this place where the entire universe, everything that is, pours out of you and into the field around you, the less obstruction on that, the better, obviously. So we don't need to climb to reach the divine. That very idea is an artificial imposition. It was to disempower us. It was to take our focus off of ourselves and distract us and bring us outward, bring our attention and our energy outward. Because of this extractive relationship that we've been in with the, overlords, over hierarchy, pyramid. That is all ending now. It's all ending. And it's time for us to return our authority to where it belongs, where it has always belonged, which is within, to us, through this Stargate, deep, deep portal, direct access to source. Direct. No intermediary. You do not need to climb to reach the divine. You don't need anyone else's approval. We used to get burned for saying this kind of stuff. Now they just burn us through the radio waves. But you don't have to take it. You don't need an intermediary. You are the Stargate. You are the portal. All we have to do is remember how to get there, and nobody else can tell you. You just got to soften enough to feel what's always been there. I promise you, if you do it, you'll just, may take some time, but you'll get there. You'll there's nowhere to get. It's already there. See, our language is so inadequate, or, we're used to speaking in certain patterns. That's not what I mean, all right? Stargate is never far away. It's been quietly just pulsating inside our deep heart. And you can resonate with it because you have the key. Yeah. You have the key to your own Stargate. You don't have to worry about that. It's just waiting for you to notice, to come back. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I have the key to everything's right in here. Whew. Look at these powerful feelings. That's the resonance of truth. All right, so the way home is not upward, outward. It is inward. And the inward becomes the everywhere. Because we can only experience what we bring forth from within ourselves. And if we don't have that connection, we're living at a very, as George would say, very shallow level of life. Right? But once we open that Stargate, then you're drinking deep from your own well, which is infinite. We're generators, not consumers. Okay. Hope that's been helpful. I think it's something we can sit with. Nobody can do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. Have a beautiful day, everyone. I'll see you next time.